Hello students, I am Dr. Pallavi Gupta. Today I will deliver a lecture on the election of president. This lecture is divided into several parts to include all the contents relating to the election of president. The Constitution of India created an elective office of the President of India as the head of the state. He is regarded the first citizen of India. The President shall be part of the Indian Parliament as per Article 79, but he shall not be a member of either House of Parliament or a House of the Legislature of any state. So, regarding the election of President of India, today in this lecture, in this part 1, I will discuss about the introduction of the election of President and the electoral college for the election of President, how it is composed, and who can be part of the electoral college, that I will discuss in part 1. See, it is a list of President of India since 1952 till date. Although you are already aware about this thing, but still I just want to show the pictures of the President of India till date. Yes, what law is there relating to election of president? We have the Constitution of India. It starts from the Article 54, and there is the Act that is known as a Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Act 1952, and the rules of 1974 which are made under this act to govern the election of president. The question comes whether after the independence of the India, who shall be the president? So the Constitution provides that there shall be a President of India at all times. So therefore, Constitution made a transitory Constitution Assembly took care of it and make the provision made under the Article 380 that the Constituent Assembly shall elect an interim president who shall hold office until a regular president was elected according to the provision of the Constitution of India and entered upon his office. So therefore there was the discussion on the interim president, who will be the interim president. It is the Constituent Assembly appointed, and as you know, the Dr. Rajendra Prasad was appointed as a interim president of India. Now, what shall be the term of the office of the president entered? Before going this thing, I would like to say that the Rajendra Prasad as an interim president appointed on 24 January 1950 as an interim president appointed as on 24 January 1950. He assumed that office on the historic day of 26 January 1950 and continued to hold office until he was regularly elected as the first president of India and entered upon his office on 13 May 1952. And here I would like to say that Dr. Rajendra Prasad had the longest tenure from 1950 to 1962. Yes. Regarding the term of the office of the president elected in normal course, or we can say what shall be the term of the office of president. The office of the president is the highest elective office in India. The president shall hold office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters upon his office according to the provision of Article 56. He shall continue to hold office until his successor enters upon his office as per Article 56 subclause 2 subclause C. There was a issue which was raised that what happened, can the election of the president be postponed? So this question was referred for the to get opinion to the Supreme Court, as known as a re-presidential election in 1974. Yeah, as the Constitution require that an election to fill the vacancy in the office of the president on the expiration of his term shall be held before the expiration of the term of the president as per Article 62 subclause 1. In this case, the Supreme Court has held that the presidential election must be completed before the expiration of the term of the incumbent president, so that his successor enters upon his office on the day the predecessors vacate office on the expiration of the office term. Meaning thereby, the office of the president shall not be vacant for a single minute. And regarding the electoral college for election of president, before discussing this, I would like to say that can the president re-elected? The answer is yes, under Article 57. The incumbent president or a former president is eligible for re-election to that office for any number of terms. So far, till date, only the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, was re-elected to that office. Here, you are watching the map of Gujarat. You will be thinking why I just fix here the map of Gujarat. Although this case will on this case I will discuss later in the last slide. That then you will understand what is the relevancy of this map of Gujarat over here. So, electoral college. The president shall be elected by the member of a electoral college consisting of the elected member of both House of Parliament and the elected member of the Legislative Assembly of the states under Article 54. Means there will not be nominated person. So, or we can say in 1995 there was an amendment was made on 18th June by 70th amendment in 1992 which came into force on 18th June 1995. An explanation was added in Article 54 by this amendment that for the purpose of the aforesaid electoral college, the state shall include the National Capital Territory of Delhi and the Union Territory of Pondicherry. Meaning thereby, the elected member of the Legislative Assembly of Delhi and Pondicherry have also been included in the electoral college for the presidential election. Accordingly, after this amendment, it was for the first time in 1997 the member of the Legislative Assembly of both the Union Territory, that is Delhi and Pondicherry, participated in presidential election. So it is clearly that it was held in the case of Shiv Kripal versus B.B. Giri in 1970 that the member of the Legislative Assembly of the states were the member of Electoral College for the presidential election and not the member of Legislative Assembly of the Union Territories. In the when the election of the VB Giri was going on, there was an issue whether the member whether the Union Territories can be participated in the election of president. So, in the case of Shiv Kripal Singh, it was decided that only the member of Legislative Assembly uh, uh, of the states and the member of parliament will participate in the presidential election, not the member of the Legislative Assembly of the Union Territory. Although in 1992 there was an amendment made, which was came into force in 1995, that only the Union Territories of a state, Union Territory of Delhi and Pondicherry, their elected member of a Legislative Assembly will participate over there. So it is a noteworthy that only the elected member of both the House of Parliament and of the state legislative assemblies are the elector for a presidential except for the presidential election. No nominated member of the Council of State, House of People, or a state legislative assembly is a member of Electoral College for such election. Further, the member of a state legislative council, even the elected member, they are not member of the Electoral College for a presidential election. So, here you are seeing the house of president and the picture of BB Giri, our president. Okay. In the next slide, I'm showing you the picture of gas. Of course, yes, it is Amritsar, Punjab. So the question was that regarding the eligibility of the member of a suspended legislative assembly, whether they can vote at presidential election or not. If a state legislative assembly stand suspended and is kept under suspended animation, the member of such suspended legislative assembly also have a right to be included in the electoral college for a presidential election. And state of Punjab is the example of this when in 1987 the presidential election was there. The legislative assembly of the Punjab was suspended by a proclamation on 11th May 1987 of the president under Article 356 of the Constitution. But the member of such suspended state assembly duly participated in that election. It is clear. Now, just guess who is this in picture? Yes, it is Sardar Prakash Singh Badal. There was a issue that regarding the eligibility of disqualified member of a legislative assembly, whether they can vote at presidential election. 22 member of the Punjab Legislative Assembly, suspended Punjab Legislative Assembly, also then stood disqualified for continuing as member of that assembly. 22 members were disqualified by an order of the Speaker of the Assembly under the 10th schedule to the Constitution on the ground of defection. In other words, in the suspended uh, Punjab Legislative Assembly, 22 members were disqualified by the Speaker under the ground of defection as mentioned in 10th schedule of the Constitution. They made they made an appeal before the Supreme Court against the order of the Speaker. The Supreme Court directed that if any presidential election was held before the hearing of the said appeal, the disqualified member would be entitled to participate in the poll and cast their vote if they had not been disqualified. A doubt arose whether such member could also propose or second the nomination of a candidate for that presidential election. On a clarification which was sought by the Election Commission, the Supreme Court ordered and held that participation in the election would include proposing and seconding of the nomination of the candidate. Although court directed that votes cast by this member should be marked and kept separately till the final disposal of the case. Although in the final decision, court allowed these votes to be counted at the time of counting. So it is clear in the case of Sardar Prakash Singh Badal versus Union of India, where the Supreme Court directed that if any presidential election was held before the hearing of the said appeal, the disqualified member would be entitled to participate in the poll and cast their vote if they had not been disqualified. So it is clear. Now, regarding the vacancies in the Electoral College due to the dissolution of a state legislative assembly, yes. In 1974, at the time of 6th presidential election, the Legislative Assembly of the Gujarat stood dissolved, where 182 elected members were there. The assembly was dissolved on 15th March 1974, and there was some constitutional impediment in the holding of a general election to that assembly before the presidential election was due to be held in July 1974. A doubt arose whether the presidential election could be held in view of such a large number of vacancies in the electoral college for that election. It was considered desirable to obtain the opinion of the Supreme Court in order to set this controversy or various controversy on this point. So therefore, I am showing the picture of the Gujarat, whose state assembly was dissolved during the 6th presidential election in 1974, and this matter was referred to the Supreme Court for its opinion. Accordingly, the President referred the matter to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court under Article 143 in its advisory opinion on the question of highly public importance give the opinion that the presidential election had to be held and completed in such a time as may enable the president-elect to enter upon his office on the expiration of the term of the office of the outgoing president. And therefore, The presidential election should be held even if the Gujarat Assembly Legislative Assembly was not in existence. So, meaning thereby the election of the president cannot be postponed. So, in this lecture, I had discussed regarding the what laws are related to the election of president and who was interim president, whether president is re-elected, what shall be the term of the office of the president, whether the the member of elected member of state legislative which is suspended can participate in election. Yes, they can. Whether the disqualified member on the ground of defection can participate in election. Yes, they can, but there are certain conditions. Whether president, whether election of the president can be postponed if state legislative assembly of a state is dissolved and general election could not be conducted. The answer is yes. So in the next topic I will discuss the election of presidential in part 2, where I will discuss the manner of election of the president and the time limit of for holding the presidential election. That I will discuss in part 2. Thank you for watching me and listening me. Bye bye students.